following in her footsteps. Poignant moment. William is pictured in the exact same spot his late mother stood in, 30 years after Diana opened the same children's hospice. Prince William trod in his late mother's footsteps today as he toured a children's hospice 30 years after she first opened it. Some of the staff and supporters, who were present at both events, said they remembered the moment like it was yesterday and declared that William had inherited Princess Diana's way with the youngsters. The prince visited the Acorns Children's Hospice in Silioque on a day trip to Birmingham, getting down on his knees to interact with dozens of patients suffering from the serious and terminal conditions. He told well-wishers that it was fantastic to be there, 3 decades after his late mother. He was guided around the first part of the brightly decorated building by Bradley Addison, 14, who suffers from Duchenne muscular dystrophy and is a youth ambassador for the hospice. He had clearly been warned about the cheeky teenager as when he shook Bradley's hand he recalled how the boy had caught out former Aston Villa captain John Terry with a whoopee cushion when he came to the hospice. "It's Bradley, right?" said the prince. "Good to see you. Did I hear right that the last time there was someone here you used a whoopee cushion? I got warned." They said watch out for Bradley. "Wherever I sit now I will be watching. You are obviously a very funny guy." Bradley has been using the hospice since he was 3 and William asked him what it meant to him. "It's like a home to me," Bradley said. In the sensory room the prince, dressed in a suit and brogues, got to his knees to speak to the staff who were helping May Hopkins and Brett Jack. He admired the furnishings and bubble lights, saying, "It's so relaxing in here." "How does this help the children?" "I'm not sure I would want to leave it." "Do you find that all the stimulation in here helps?" He also popped into the activity room where a group of youngsters and their careers were painting and making dinosaurs. He asked one little girl whether hers was a triceratops. "George is obsessed with dinosaurs," he revealed. "We've been learning all about them." In the hydrotherapy pool he laughed as a group of children splashed about. "It's going to happen, isn't it?" he said, gesturing to his suit. "If you splash you are going to get splashed back in a minute." He jokingly admonished one little girl. "Okay, who can splash the biggest? Let's make a big splash." His second guide for the day was Asya Shamir, 31, who suffers from the rare genetic disease epidermolysis bullosa, EB, which causes terrible blistering and trauma to her skin. She told him that Acorns had offered her respite care. "The place is a home to me. It's my second family. It's so relaxed and welcoming. They have made such a difference to my life," she said. Hardev Nata was a healthcare assistant at the hospice when William's late mother came to open it in 1988 at the age of Judy 27. Her son, who would have been 6 at the time, is now 36. She recalled, "That day we were so excited. We were the first children's hospice to open in the Midlands and she was just such a people's person. She got down on the children's level to speak to them and was so warm and interested." Hardev, who is now the hospice's South Asian Communities advisor, added, "I think Prince William has inherited her people's skills and personalities. She was such a unique, beautiful person. But her son is carrying on her work. It seems quite incredible to have come full circle. I am still here because I know what a lifeline Acorns is for parents and feel I have a part to play in that. But I'll be too old to be working here when William's children come to visit in another 30 years. Before leaving, William opened a plaque commemorating his visit, just like his mother did before him, with the help of Bradley and Asya, and signed a visitor's book by her signed picture. "You are going to have to make some more room," he joked, gesturing to the space on the wall. In a speech Acorns Hospice President, Gay Alexander, said, 30 years ago HRH Diana, Princess of Wales, came here to open Acorns. I was here and it was great. It was a wonderful day, the accomplishment of so many dreams. It was only the 3rd children's hospice in the world. It means more to us than we say to have you coming here today. I am going to get tearful," she added. "Don't, you'll start me off as well." William laughed. She recalled later how Diana's visit had given the chief constable of the West Midlands a scare. She was just preparing to leave when she saw some people waiting across the road to cheer her. She just set off and walked right across the road to say hello to them. The chief constable went white and set off running like John Cleese in the Ministry of Silly Walks. She laughed. She was just wonderful and made everyone feel so special. Her son has inherited all those special qualities that both his mother and father have. They have really installed into their sons the idea of giving back, The fact that he can come round like that and just chat to anyone, is the biggest, best thing that could happen to those parents. He is a star." The prince left with a set of wooden dolls made by the hospice's handyman for his children Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Earlier on Tuesday, William was given a rather tongue-in-cheek introduction as he kicked off his day of solo engagements in the West Midlands. William began his day at the University of Birmingham, where he attended the first National Skill Force Prince William Award graduation ceremony. The ceremony, hosted by David Walliams, played host to 146 students from 62 schools. In his opening speech, the Britain's Got Talent judge quipped, "He's not the ginger one, he's the other one. But he is the most important one." Even though George Clooney didn't show up to his wedding. He was referring to Harry and Meghan's star-studded congregation, which saw the likes of George and Amal Clooney, Oprah Winfrey and Serena Williams descend on Windsor Castle on May 19. Arriving in Birmingham today, William received a huge round of applause as he made his way into the Aston Webb Great Hall. Children from as far away as Aberdeen, Durham, Wales and St Albans sat around tables inside and were invited to cheer as the prince made his way to his seat on the stage. William also made a speech during the ceremony which marks the successful first year of the Prince William Award, a scheme which aims to help young people build their character, confidence and resilience. The royal was greeted at the entrance to Aston Webb Great Hall by Dr. Beverly Lindsay, the Vice Lord Lieutenant of the West Midlands and the High Sheriff of the West Midlands Chris Loughran. Finally, he travelled to Mary Stevens Park in Stourbridge to unveil a statue in tribute to a British spy who risked his life to save 10,000 Jews from the Holocaust in Nazi Germany. William honoured the memory of Major Frank Foley, an MI6 officer stationed in Berlin who used his cover as a British passport control officer to extricate Jews from concentration camps and get travel documents for refugees to flee to Britain and other countries before the Second World War. William, 36, unveiled the £40,000 statue in a park in Stourbridge, in the West Midlands borough of Dudley where Major Foley retired in 1949 and lived out his life in quiet obscurity, never boasting about his actions, until his death in 1958. It was only when government papers were released after 50 years that journalist Michael Smith pieced together his heroism and wrote his biography, The Spy Who Saved 10,000 Jews, in 1999. Ian Austin, the Labour MP for Dudley North and the son of a Czech Jewish refugee, campaigned with the Holocaust Educational Trust to get the statue, created by Birmingham artist Andy de Cummin, built and funded by the then-Chancellor George Osborne using fines levied on banks. The second in line to the throne met Holocaust survivors, including Michael Manlock, 82, from Chigwell, Essex. He fled Germany as a 2-year-old with his mother Cecilia after Foley somehow got his father Arthur out of Buchenwald concentration camp in Weimar, Germany, and obtained visas for him to flee immediately to Britain with his family following in the following month. Mr. Manlock, whose son-in-law is James Brokenshire, Secretary of State for Housing, Communities, and Local Government, paid tribute to his family's savior. He said, "I am delighted to be here. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today." Werner Laux, another survivor who could not be at the ceremony in Stourbridge's Mary Stevens Park, said, "The courageous and brave actions of Frank Foley made it possible for me to escape the hell of Nazi Germany." Mr. Laux, now 91, added, "But for him, I too would have been a victim of the Holocaust. He was my savior. I shall always honor and cherish his memory." William heard from Mr. Foley's great-nephew, Stephen Higgs, how the spy smuggled Jewish families' possessions out of Germany in the diplomatic bag and sent them to Stephen's father, Sir Michael Higgs at his solicitor's office in Brierley Hill, Dudley. When the refugees arrived in Britain, they would be sent to the office to collect their possessions. "Very clever," William said. Mr. Austin, who has fought his own internal battles with Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn to recognise the dangers of growing anti-Semitism and intolerance on the left of British politics, said, "This is a huge honour for the people of Dudley and a wonderful tribute to a great British hero." He added, I hope this statue will help people learn how Frank Foley refused to stand by when people were being persecuted because of their race and religion. His life and his courage show us that we all have a responsibility to stand up against intolerance and racism. Alex Younger, chief of MI6, the Secret Intelligence Service, added his own tribute. There is a mantra that surrounds CIS MI6's history that reads, "Our successes are private, our failures are public," he said. It is a wonderful thing for CIS MI6 that one of its most distinguished members' successes are no longer private. The Duchess of Cambridge is believed to be at the couple's home in Kensington Palace as she continues her maternity leave after welcoming their third child, Prince Louis, on April 23.